Is there anything within supplementation that you want to, obviously the fundamentals are going to be the most important for overall health, right? But it's such a booming industry, and there's a lot of snake oil salesmen within it. But what is your take on supplementation, even if we are eating what most people would see as a holistic, whole foods, plant-based diet that are getting a variance in their polyphenols, they're getting the proper fiber, they're getting a lot of these different things, yet also a lot of the food that we're growing in the soil is just nutritionally deficient compared to what it used to be. Is there anything else in terms of supplementation that you want people to look at? And of course, this is under the umbrella, like you need to test to be able to know, right? And we can touch on that towards the end as well. Maybe we want to bring it up now too, but
yeah, you beat me to it. Okay. I think you start with testing. I mean, besides the obvious ones that you clearly have a gap in your diet. Like if you're not eating any animal foods, then you need to supplement B12. But I think outside of that, it's testing, understanding what your nutrient status is, and then devising a plan, whether that's through consuming more foods. Like for example, if it was iodine, a urine iodine test, and you were low on that, then you have different options. You can opt for iodized salt. You can opt for dulse flakes or nori flakes, the types of seaweed, or you could supplement iodine. So an individual approach is going to be largely required there to fill gaps. And that's where supplementation, I think, is most important, is if you are filling a nutrient gap, right? That's where I would start. And I think if someone is not consuming fatty fish, for example, I believe that they should, based on the evidence that we have and a kind of precautionary principle, because I don't see a downside of this other than cost, I think that people should supplement with a DHA, EPA, algae oil or fish oil, whatever they want to choose. Yeah. Sort of 800 milligrams or a gram a day at least of that. And they can go out and measure their omega-3 index if they want. And, hopefully that's at 6% or north of that. Outside of that, creatine, a lot of evidence for creatine, not just for bodybuilders. I think people see it as a bodybuilding kind of compound. It's very helpful in increasing strength. And that's for everyone across the board, no matter what diet you're consuming. Even if you're consuming a carnivore diet, you're probably still not getting an optimal amount of creatine. So there's probably still some benefit from supplementing with sort of 3 or 5 grams of creatine monohydrate a day. There's lots of different types of creatine out there. I think creatine monohydrate has the most evidence for it. I know I saw out there in your kitchen you supplement with creatine, so you're on that program. Protein powder you could maybe consider as a supplement. That probably falls under this. And again, that's just going to come back to someone's overall dietary pattern, and do they need a sort of convenient bolus of protein to get to that optimal amount. And then outside of that, I'm not someone that kind of polices supplements in the way that perhaps others do and say, you shouldn't really, there's no evidence for any of this. I think experimentation within sort of limits is as long as those compounds, we have some safety data to show that they're not toxic and harmful. I don't see any reason that people can't kind of play around and see how they feel. I think that's up to the individual's discretion. But that's kind of like the main ones that I would focus on.